Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. With the SNP demanding more proof, more evidence that there has been very extensive grooming gangs in Scotland, one exceedingly brave young woman has come forward. She's written a letter to Swinney, and in that letter she's described what happened to her, the extent of what happened over a long period of time, and how she was abused, I suppose is the word, by 10 different men of Pakistani Muslim origin. That's when she was living in a Glasgow care home run and controlled by the SNP. She's attempting to explain that the SNP know full well what's happening, and that there is no need for more proof, since this care home also knew what was happening but refused to do anything for fear of stirring up racial problems. Now, Taylor, not her real name, but what we've got to give her a name, this is the name she's using in the letter, says that she was a victim of grooming gangs, and she's calling now for a full judge-led national inquiry in Scotland. She says, and of course she agrees that the SNP are uncomfortable with this because of the extent to which local government run by SNP as well as national government were complicit in allowing these gangs to flourish. Now, the Scottish Government, of course, has been resisting these calls to have a full-scale inquiry because they know the finger will be pointed very firmly at the SNP. After all, we all know what the P stands for, don't we? But yesterday, Angela Constance told the MSPs that there was still, it wasn't yesterday, it was Friday, my apologies, Friday. Angela Constance told MSPs that there still wasn't enough evidence that such an inquiry was necessary. The trouble is, of course, there is. There's lots of evidence. The police have said there is. Other MSPs have said there is. And now victims are saying there is. This letter undermines everything Angela Constance is saying. So one can only presume that Angela Constance knows full well that there's an extensive problem with Pakistani Muslim child rape gangs in Scotland, but just doesn't want to have an inquiry over it because of the complicitness of her party in the continuation over many, many years of child rape, often performed with the knowledge of and probably in cahoots with the SNP, the police, the social services, etc., all of which have been run for nearly 20 years by the SNP. Nothing is being done to protect the vulnerable children in Scotland, says Taylor. It is still clear that it is still happening. In the letter, she says that she was received into local authority care at the age of 13 for there was no parental control, and she says that she knows that she had an undiagnosed conditions and that she struggled to regulate her behaviour because of these. Before her 14th birthday, she had become the target of a Pakistani Muslim child rape gang operating out of flats in Govan Hill and other Glen areas of Glasgow. Govan Hill, of course, is the area over which, of course, Nicola Sturgeon is in charge. Nicola Sturgeon's constituency was overseeing child rape gangs. She says, my friends and I were plied with alcohol and drugs and sexually abused by many men. There were at least 10 Pakistani men responsible for sexually abusing and exploiting me and my friends. Records show that her name appeared in CSE investigations and the police visited the care home where she lived several times. But Taylor, who's now in her 20s, said officers never spoke to her directly and she claimed care workers were dismissive. Yes, care workers employed by the SNP and police who were under control of the SNP did not want to know about child rapes in Glasgow because it would indicate that the SNP were fully engaged in ensuring that it continued to make sure that there was no complaints about racism. A few white girls being raped as children was unimportant compared with keeping Pakistani Muslims happy. in Glasgow. That's where we are. And that is why, of course, the SNP do not want to have an inquiry, because it'll all come back to show that the SNP are complicit in child rape. I'm probably getting demonetised on this video. I don't care. Screw the SNP. Bunch of absolute monsters. Thank you very much.